Hi, thank you, and welcome back. This will be the second video on a continuation series for Valorant Informative Gameplay. The first video we went over was about sensitivity and how to find your right sensitivity in a fairly quick manner, a simple test that I learned how to do um, to help you learn it. So feel free to check that video out. This one will be going about how to clear a site, sweeping, and stuff of that nature, which is a big thing when you're in Valorant because if you can't take the site, you can't plant the bomb. Therefore, on attacking side, you lose. So we'll be going over B site on this map, and if we go out into B, we're just gonna go into the assumption we have teammates watching Garage over there. All right, without using any abilities, there's a few things that you want to do. So when you're coming out of mid, you want to first peek, these angles, and there's depending on who the enemy team is, if you know there's people on the team that can use their abilities to get to higher places. So people like Jet, like Raze, Omen, stuff, agents of that nature that have mobility kits in them. Then when you peek out, you want to check, bottom left generally, and then the top of the thing. Whatever you want to call this, you want to check on top of that because if you're only looking at the bottom, again, I may have discussed this in the last video, but you want to move your crosshair as little as possible in this game, which kind of sounds weird, but when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Because if I'm here and if I'm aiming here and the person's here, I got to click once, he dies. But if I'm aiming here and the person's here, I now got to move my crosshair all the way to the left. And if he's aiming at me, he has, even if he has slow reaction times, he has a higher chance to kill me. So, as we're aiming out, we check here. We see no one's here. We know they have someone on the team that can be up top, and even Sage. Sage can use her wall to go up here as well. You just do a quick sweep of the top. If you see nobody or nobody's head, next spot they're probably going to be here, but you may not see him from the spot because they are be looking into this corner. So if this is clear, you're more than welcome to jump out, start walking up, and as you get down, you want to look here because this would be another spot that they generally want to sit to kind of make sure that they can get a first encounter onto you before you see them. And so you never want to be caught off unsurprised when you're clearing angles and peeking because if you don't peek with the intent to kill, even if he is here, I still die, or I take significant damage because I was not ready for him to be here. So each and every angle you check, assume someone is going to be there, and if you're playing the rounds and you see a tendency of this person sitting here, you don't even have to think. You can just peek and shoot. And so if he's here, obviously the automatic can still appear, but if you peek and shoot and he's there, and you just pre-fire him, he dies and he has no time to react. So if you see a pattern of somebody constantly going to the same spot, do not be afraid to pre-fire it. Worst comes to worst, they know where you are, but odds are they know where you are anywhere because these maps are small. So I digress. So you clear this, they're not here, and as you go up, you obviously want to start clearing other angles. So if they're not here, they're not going to be standing here unless they're a non-intelligent player because you don't want to stand out in the open. They're going to be sitting at this corner. So you clear here, you go here. You don't need to worry about the right hand side because they cannot see you unless they can see through the wall, which in that case only some champions can. Um, and again, if they have mobility champions, you kind of want to check up here because they'll be generally standing here. Worst comes to worst, they're sitting in this corner that you can't see until you peek. So there's a couple things you want to do when you're clearing this site. So we're on the assumption that everything is cleared. We haven't encountered a single soul. Odds are they can be up here or down here. And so when you get to the spot, you then kind of want to back up, re-clear these spots out, and then start clearing the right-hand side. So right-hand side, they're likely not going to be here because they're exposed to too many angles at once. So again, unless they're a non-intelligent player, you don't really have to worry about this spot at this point of the round because you're probably about 20 seconds in and stuff like that. So you can go ahead and start peeking here. This would be the next angle because they have one angle they can be shot at and one angle they can shoot at, um, which is ideal. So whenever you're peeking an angle, you never want to make sure that you're vulnerable from more than one spot. Um, so that is your number one goal when you're finding a position to look at to an angle. If you know you're vulnerable from more than one spot, it's honestly probably not a good place to aim unless you have a teammate watching your blind spot. Because if you're aiming down at a site that you have 2 points of contact, the one you're looking at and say behind you or to your left that you cannot see, you have no idea if people are pushing to you, so therefore you can't focus on what's in front of you. So this would be a good case where if we haven't taken control of A site, he can sit here and be safe knowing that he can't get flanked unless an Omen TPs. So again, I digress. We clear the spot, you go into the corner, you go into this doorway. This doorway is going to be the next spot. You can find people sitting here, but it's not going to be too common of a spot to pre-aim. So if you happen to go from here and you follow your cursor to here, and he happens to be here, odds are you might die, let's be honest. But it's not somewhere that you want to be pre-aiming because it's not somewhere someone's going to be. Because if you come out and you start pre-aiming this angle, but they're here, based on how the view models work, they can see you and you can't see them, so they'll start shooting you first. So you kind of want to go here, peek it, go through, peek quick. If no one's here, then they're on the box up here, almost 100%. And at this time, you would need 2 people, because if you come out wide and you peek here, and they're here, you die, and vice versa. If you peek here and they're here, you die. So this is when entry fraggers and supports come into play, and I'll go into classes on another set of videos, and I'll do videos on each role, what they're supposed to do, and their kind of niche inside the game. But generally, you have one entry fragger, 2 supporters, one in-game leader, and one lurker. That's usually the general basis of how team comps get set up. Um, so, you know, the fact that this game has abilities, if I wanted to clear one site safely, I'm playing Phoenix. He has a blind on his character. So you just throw it out. It blinds anybody who's looking at it. So therefore, you can peek here. No one's here. You now have enough time to peek here and see if someone's here to die. So, vice versa. That's how you would clear into a site to begin with. And once you're into the site, it gets a bit tricky because now you're exposed from, you're exposed from here, you're exposed from here, you're exposed everywhere in the site. If they're flanking, you're exposed from here. So you got to pick a point of contact to fight because, as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure you're vulnerable from one spot. So, if I'm going into site and I clear left side, I want to keep pushing left when my team pushes right. So I clear left, I kill this guy here, bang bang, he's dead. I know they have a quick rotate from C compared to A, so if I'm playing somebody like Omen who has a smoke or like Brimstone, I want to immediately smoke this area off so that the person rotating from C-Link cannot see inside the site, and it takes longer for them to push in and retaliate, because if they push through smoke, you have an easier time to kill them unless they have an ability that allows them to blind you or stun you before they come in. So if you have a Brimstone or Omen on your team, kind of ping this spot and ping that spot as the 2 common places to smoke off when you're inside the site, so that you don't have to worry about the extremities when you're clearing the rest of B, because the last portion of B you want to clear is back here, just along this little wall here in case somebody's sitting here, and this back wall here. And at this point, if you're this far into the site, odds are no one else has pushed in, and you're kind of clear. And, for each site, you kind of just got to learn the common places to look, common places to aim, and you follow the same process that you would as I did in B site, where you pick one angle at a time and you attack it. So a lot of problems you'll see on C is you'll get an opera that sits here or sits here, kind of like in those general areas, and people will freeze when they hear the op shot. However, that is a perfect time to push, because if he shoots and he misses, he has to wait about a second and a half before he can shoot again. So if you're up here, he shoots, you freeze, you just gave him time to reload. So, without using abilities, you got to commit to your attack. So, people like to say here, people like to sit, here or watch here. So, obviously there's a lot of angles when you pop out. You just have to rely on your team and communicate with them. So if you're the first one out, your job is to clear this section here, because people will sit here more often than not. And so, likely there'll be smokes, there'll be flashes, like everything will be going on, it'll be chaos. You'll say, all right, we're pushing up C long. I'm clearing left side. So you push up, you clear left, you shoot, no one's there. Awesome. Now your team's clearing right, so your team should be clearing here. Garage. This will likely be smoked off and somebody will be sitting here. So you can probably just pre-fire, see if you can't kill anybody. But your next objective after you clear this left corner is to make sure no one can rotate from here. Because even if the Opera is sitting in this corner, there's realistically no way for him to fight when the smokes are up. So in this point, you just want to make sure that no one can rotate from C as your team is clearing your garage. And now if your team's not clearing garage and they're running straight through site to clear C-Link, at this point, this is where you want to clear garage because it's you're not vulnerable from C long because your team's still pushing in. If you crouch down, you're not vulnerable from the platform unless the opper decides to push up to here. And at that point, your team can kill him, if they're paying attention, because he has to walk up into the open to come kill you. So at this point, you have one point of contact, and that is garage. So this would be kind of like your ideal entry fragger position, where you come through, kill left, and then you either check C-Link, make sure no one can come in, and if they do, just bang bang, they die, or you tuck yourself in this corner, and you sit in C garage. Now if you have bomb, smokes are down, you literally just run into the smoke, and you plant the bomb. It's not hard. You have a team for a reason. So if the site is smoked and your team is running to site, your job as a bomb planter is to just plant the bomb. It's your team's job to protect you while you plant the bomb and kill the people on site. So that's also something that people tend not to do when they have bomb, is they want to go for kills, and they will go out to get a kill and they'll die, and now the bomb will be in the defender's possession, and you now have to fight the defenders to get the bomb instead of vice versa. So those are just a few concepts on clearing sites. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comment section down below. I will be happy to read them, happy to respond to you. And I thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.